book up wide and meet adventures that wait for you. Live and learn and laugh and play whenever your dream comes true. You could swim along the river all the way to the sea. You could fly up in the sky above the clouds and trees. You could plant a flower garden up on top of the moon. You could swing through the jungle all afternoon. Wherever our story takes us, I can't wait to see. Yes, friends, come and read with me. It's Online Storytime.
Hello everybody, and welcome to Online Storytime at your Grand Rapids Area Library. I'm Miss Tracy.
I'm Grandma Pat.
And we are very, very happy that you're here with us today. Hey Grandma Pat, before we talk about that silly thing we're going to talk about today, should we sing?
We should.
Storytime friends, would you please sing with us? Here we go, and remember, the song says to clap your hands, but you clap whatever you've got. Here we go. If you want to hear a story, clap your hands. If you want to hear a story, clap your hands. If you want to hear a story, if you want to hear a story, if you want to hear a story, clap your hands. And I do want to hear a story, maybe even two. I know. So, Grandma Pat, what do you want to talk about today?
Well, I like to have a good time,
Mm-hmm.
and I like to giggle, and I like to laugh. So maybe we should talk about stories that make you do that.
That are kind of silly?
Yeah.
Silly stories, things that kind of don't really ever really happen, but it's really funny to think about them. I think that would be a really fun thing to talk about. And I see that our friends here are all laughing while they're reading a book. I bet you they're all reading really silly stories.
And we have a couple of really silly stories to read today.
Oh, I can't wait.
I think you'll like them. Here's a book by Mo Willems, who is really a funny guy. His characters are Elephant and Piggy, and the name of this book is There is a Bird on Your Head.
I don't think I've ever had a bird on my head.
Oh, I hope not. And it's brought to us by Hyperion Books for Children from New York. And here's Elephant and Piggy is hollering, "There is a bird on your head." I love that Piggy. Here it comes. They're just chilling. Here comes the bird. Oh. Piggy! Oh, Piggy's. Is something on my head? Yes. There is a bird on your head? There's a bird on my head? Ah! I don't think Elephant liked a bird on his head. Is there a bird on my head now? No. Look at that. Now there are two birds on your head. Oh. What are two birds doing on my head? They are in love.
How do we know the birds are in love, Grandma Pat?
Look at,
Are they kissing?
I think so, and there's a little Valentine there. The birds on my head are in love. They are lovebirds. Oh, one's flying away, waving bye. Lovebirds. How do you know they are lovebirds? Oh, it's starting there. They are making a nest. Two birds are making a nest on my head. Why would two birds make a nest on my head? I'm afraid to ask. Oh, I have an egg on my head. One, two, three. You have 3 eggs on your head. I do not want 3 eggs on my head. Then I have good news. What do you think? What do you think? The eggs are gone? The eggs are hatching. Hatching? The eggs are hatching on my head? Cheep, cheep, cheep. Oh, Piggy loves them. They have hatched. He's so happy. Now I have 3 baby chicks on my head. And 2 birds and a nest. I do not want 3 baby chicks, 2 birds, and a nest on my head. Well, where do you want them? Somewhere else. Well, why not ask them to go somewhere else? Ask them? Ask them. Okay, I'll try asking. Excuse me, birds. Would you please go somewhere else? No problem. It worked. Bye.
How are they moving the nest, Grandma Pat?
Boy, those are some strong birds.
Oh, so the mama and daddy bird are flying it?
Yep. There are no birds on my head. Thank you, Piggy. Thank you very much. You are welcome. Where did the birds take their nest?
That was so silly.
That is silly. Mo Willems, silly guy.
Hey, Storytime friends, are you ready for a flannel board? Yes, Grandma Pat, how about you?
I love flannel boards.
All right, now, because we're doing silly stories today, we are going to have a super silly flannel board. And this is actually a poem. And the poem was written by Shel Silverstein. And he wrote lots and lots of silly poems. This one is called A Hippo Sandwich. Right? I know. Let's see how this goes. It says, a hippo sandwich is easy to make. All you do is simply take 1 slice of bread, 1 slice of cake. Have you ever had a cake sandwich? I don't know. Some mayonnaise, an onion ring. That looks delicious, doesn't it? 1 hippopotamus. 1 piece of string and a dash of pepper. That ought to do it. And now comes the problem, biting into it. How would you bite into that big sandwich? Yep, that's pretty silly. Thanks for playing.
We have another silly story with one of my favorite characters. This is Mother Bruce. Do you see how the goose says Mother Goose? Cross that out and put Bruce. This is going to be a fun story by Ryan T. Higgins. And he also did all of the illustrations. And this is brought to us again by Hyperion from Los Angeles in New York. And there is Mother Bruce. Bruce was a bear who lived all by himself. He was a grump. He looks like a grump. He did not like sunny days. He did not like rain. And he did not like cute little animals. Bruce only liked one thing, eggs. He collected them from all over the forest. Good morning, Mrs. Sparrow. And there's his basket of eggs. But Bruce didn't like eggs raw like other bears. Instead, he cooked them into fancy recipes that he found on the internet. One day, Bruce came across a recipe for hard-boiled goose eggs drizzled with honey salmon sauce. Ooh, he thinks that looks good. So he went out to get the ingredients. Took his shopping cart. First he caught the salmon. Then he collected honey from a local beehive. He's liked to support local businesses, you know. Last, he went to Mrs. Goose's nest to pay her a visit. Are these eggs free-range organic? At home, Bruce prepared the eggs for hard boiling. But the fire in his stove fizzled, so he went out to get more wood. When Bruce came back, he was met with an unwelcome surprise. What do you think it's going to be? Mama! Bruce became the victim of mistaken identity.
So the baby geese thought Bruce was their mama?
Yeah, first thing they saw was Bruce, and they said, Mama. Pretty cute, aren't they? Bruce wanted hard-boiled eggs, not goslings. He supposed he could settle for buttered goslings on toast, but for some reason, he lost his appetite. Bruce scooped up the little geese and stomped back to their nest. I will have to ask Mrs. Goose about her return policy. Only to find Mrs. Goose had flown south early. She left a note, "Be back in April, Miss Mother Goose." Bruce left the goslings there anyway and went back home. What do you think's gonna happen? Yep. But he was followed. Mama? Mama? Bruce was very stern and said things like, "Go away," and "I am not your mother," and also, "I liked you better when you were eggs." Bruce could take it no longer and became extra grumpy with them. Roar! They look a little confused. It didn't work. Goslings always follow their mother, even if she is a he and he is a bear. Mama? Mama? There they go. They're even walking like Bruce. Bruce was stuck with them. He tried to make the best of it. Took him swimming. It was hard work. He did some arts and crafts with them. And he has harnesses for them so he can carry them. Look at that. Black, black. Ew, yuck. Now they're all taking a nap. As the seasons passed, Bruce watched the pesky goslings get older. Annoying baby geese became stubborn teenage geese. boring adult geese. Then one fall afternoon, he saw other goose families flying south. Finally, he'd be rid of these geese, and he could take a long winter nap. Bruce explained migration, but they didn't listen.
Grandma Pat, what is migration?
That means they fly south where it's warm for the winter. But they didn't care because, look, they found hats and coats and boots. They're gonna hang around. Bruce needed the geese to leave, so he got creative. Slingshot. Nothing worked. The geese would not leave Bruce. So, Bruce decided to pack some bags and take his geese into town. They boarded a bus. They all have backpacks. And migrated to Miami.
Where's Miami, Grandma Pat?
That's in warm Florida. It's warm all the time. And now every winter, Bruce and his geese head south together. They laze about at the beach in tacky shirts, sipping ice-cold lemonade, while Bruce dreams of new recipes. Recipes that don't hatch. Mama?
Uh-oh, what's that?
No.
That's a turtle.
And there's Mother Goose, Mother Bruce.
Storytime friends, Grandma Pat,
Yes.
we are doing something today we have never done on Online Storytime. We are going to do some shaker songs, but the second one, we're also going to use the felt board. Isn't that crazy? Like a shaker song, felt board song, shaker, felt board song.
Oh,
Right?
can hardly wait.
I know, it's going to be a really good time. However, our first song, we are just going to need our shakers for. So out of your Storytime kit, can you find your shaker or find whatever you're using for a shaker? Remember, a shaker can be almost anything. We have some seeds in an envelope, and this has lasted, my friends, almost 3 years. So they last for a long, long time.
Thank you.
We also have some bottle caps that we just put into a plastic case, so you could do something like that. Anything that you can shake that makes noise. That's all you need. All right, so our very first one is called Little Shaker. Excuse me? Of course. Storytime friends. Elephant would like to be our friend today. Hello, Storytime friends. Hello, Grandma Pat.
Hi, Blue Elephant.
I wanted to be the Storytime friend because Miss Tracy told me our very first shaker song has a mouse in it. And sometimes I'm a little nervous about mice. So I thought it would be fun to sing along and help me get over my nervousness about mice. Elephant, that was such a good idea. We're gonna put you right here, all right? And you can sing with us. Here goes our very first poem. And like Elephant said, it has a mouse in it. It's called Little Shaker Mouse. Are you ready? This is gonna turn into a shaker mouse. I heard a little shake right inside my house. It sounded like the shake of a little shaker mouse. Have you ever had a shaker mouse? Maybe you have one in your hand right now. He shook to the ceiling. He shook to the floor. He shook till he fell asleep, and he began to snore. That was a very gentle little mouse, wasn't it, Elephant? Did you make your shaker be a very gentle shaker? Now, I heard a great big shake. Ooh! right outside my door. It sounded like the shake of a shaker dinosaur. Whoa! He shook to the ceiling. He shook to the floor. He shook till he fell asleep. And he began to snore. Wasn't that fun? Our shaker was a tiny mouse, and he was a great big dinosaur. One shaker. Pretty silly, if you ask me. All right, now we are going to do a song that a lot of you might know, but it's a very, very silly song, and it's called Down by the Bay. And I am going to put up the things that we're singing about so you can see the silly things. If you know the words, I'd like you to sing along. Are you ready? Oh, and this song is done by Raffi, and Raffi is one of my favorite entertainers. Here we go. Down by the bay, where the watermelon grow, back to my home I dare not go, for if I do, my mother will say, did you ever see a moose kissing a goose? Down by the bay, where the watermelon grow. Back to my home, I dare not go, for if I do, my mother will say, did you ever see a whale with polka dot tail? Down by the bay, where the watermelon grow. Back to my home, I dare not go, for if I do, my mother will say, did you ever see a fly wearing a tie? Down by the bay, where the watermelon grow. Back to my home, I dare not go, for if I do, my mother will say, did you ever see a bear combing his hair? Down by the bay, where the watermelon grow. Back to my home, I dare not go, for if I do, my mother would say, did you ever see a llama wearing pajamas? Down by the bay. Wasn't that fun? Did you ever see such silly things? If you want to, you can ask one of your grown-ups to look up Raffi on YouTube, and you could hear Raffi singing this song, because it's pretty wonderful. Hey, thanks for playing. Storytime friends, Grandma Pat, I had such a fun day on Silly Storytime Day.
Silly stories are always fun.
An elephant ended up with a bird on its head, and then there were two birds, and then there was a nest, and then there were babies. Oh, sorry, there were eggs, and then there were babies, and finally elephant said, I do not want a nest on my head. What happened?
They moved the nest.
To Piggy! Yes. Piggy got the nest on Piggy's head. And then Mother Bruce. All Bruce wanted was an omelet, really. And Bruce ended up with geese that he raised. And where did they migrate to?
What does migrate mean again?
It means to go south where it's warm in the wintertime.
Okay.
That's how a lot of birds survive. But bears usually stay here and hibernate. But not Mother Bruce. Mother Bruce brought his geese to Miami.
And he pretended to be so grumpy, doesn't he?
I think he pretty much loved his geese.
I think so.
And then we did something fun today. We did a shaker flannel board. I know, that was so much fun. But now I think it's time to say goodbye. What do you think, Grandma Pat?
Okay, if we have to.
All right, Storytime friends, would you sing with us? Here we go. Oh, it's time to say goodbye to all our friends. Yes, it's time to say goodbye to all our friends. Story time is done today. Now it's time to go and play. Oh, it's time to say goodbye to all our friends. Goodbye, everybody.
Go find a silly story.